Welcome to Test Prep Central. Today we are working Calculator Workshop 15, Creating Polygons. Now this is one of the few truly geometry topics in these calculator workshops, and this for my students each year, they just enjoy this. So mainly I just wanted to put it in because it's fun. I don't know that this is that helpful on prepping for state tests. In fact, I'm sure that it's not, but it is a fun activity and kids enjoy it, and it is a nice way to create a really good looking regular polygon. So in example 1, it says graph an equilateral triangle. And so to do this, you will use not functions, but actually we're going to use parametric equations. So first I'm going to clear my memory. Second plus 7, 1, 2. And then we're going to go to our calculator mode. So press the mode button and change the mode to degree. So highlight degree, enter, and parametric. And so go to parametric and type enter. Now you don't really have to understand parametric equations to make these polygons, but those of you in advanced math courses, you might already know what parametric equations do, but they basically define functions for both x and y. So we're going to go ahead and type in y equals cosine for our x, 1. So we put cosine, so press cosine. Now press the button that says x, but you'll notice that capital T. That capital T is for parametric equations. And then I am going to close my parentheses, although you don't technically have to. Okay, and then go down to y1, not x2. There we go, y1. And y will be sine t. So press the button that says sin, that stands for sine, and t is the same as your x button. And then you can close your parentheses. Now, you can't use the X, like some students for some reason, and I don't know why they do this, but they'll end up using alpha and then the store key instead of typing the X button that's right next to alpha. But you can't do that here. You really need to use the T button right there. All right, so let's move on to our window. We're going to set T values in the window. So go to your window. Our T min will be 0 and our T max will be 360. Now the reason we're doing this is we're basically taking an entire circle of 360 degrees. And that will go from 0 to 360 around a circle. Now the T step is a degree measure. We're going to divide our 360 into 3 parts because we want a triangle for our first example. So to do that, simply type 360 divided by 3. You probably already know that's 120, so you could just type 120, but that's how you get your T-step for these polygons. Now the X-min and the X-max, we're not going to set those. What we're going to do is we're going to use a square window, which is zoom 4, to create a perfectly square window, and you can see the shape is really nice, but there's a couple of problems here. First of all, I really don't want these axes because they don't serve a purpose in what we're doing, and I also have a really small triangle, so we're going to do 2 things. Let's turn off the axes. If you'll go to second zoom, that's your format menu, you can go down to axes where it says black, use the left arrow and go over 3 times and you'll see off. So now when I hit graph, it's a much prettier graph. I don't have those axes in the way. And then also I really have a small triangle here. So let's make it larger. So we're going to zoom in, which is 2. And then we're going to enter and it will blow it up for us. If you want to go to your window, you can see what it's done to these values. So these are actually very tiny values, and so it's a really good looking triangle now. Now if you'll use the trace button, you'll see it starts out at T equals 0, and they all will do that. And then you'll use the right arrow and this cursor will move to the next point or the next vertex in your triangle, and notice the T value is 120, and then do the right arrow again and it will show you the T value at 240. If you keep going, it's going to go around to 360, and then you'll notice you cannot go any further. So these stop at 360. And then you can go left to go back around the other direction. So remember, hit the trace button, use the left and the right arrows to travel around, and it will show you your T-steps at the bottom left corner of your graph. Now to create a graph, I've given you a blank circle graph from 0 to 360, and so you will basically plot the point 0, just put a vertex there, and then you will go around to 120 and put a vertex there, and then go to the 240 and put a vertex there, and then connect them to create your triangle. So there's one there for you to do, so I've just given you one to practice in this workshop. On the back of your assignment, you'll notice in back of the packet that you have, there are a whole page of these so that you can use them if you want to create any number of sides for your polygon. So we'll do 2 more, and then you can do the ones for practice if you would like on that page. Number 2, example 2, says to graph a 9-sided polygon. We call that a nonagon or an enneagon. It's 9 sides. And what's really nice is once you've set your calculator up to draw polygons, there's really very little to do after that first example. So these next are going to go much quicker. Type the button that says window, and the only thing that will change in this window is the T-step. We like everything else the same. So go down to the T-step with your arrows. And since it's a 9-sided polygon, we're going to divide 360 degrees into 9. And so it's going to basically show you the endpoints of arcs, and then it connects those points to create the polygon. Okay, so let's type enter, and it changes it to 40. And let's go to the graph. And now we have a 9-sided polygon. To get the vertices, type the trace, and notice it always begins at t equals 0. And notice as you press the right arrow, it's going to count around by 40 degrees. Now, if you don't have a graphing calculator, of course, you could just count around by 40 degrees on one of these circle diagrams and save the trouble of putting the polygon in the calculator. But it's just a fun activity to do at least once so that you can see a really cool looking polygon in the calculator, something you may have never seen before. Okay, keep pressing the right arrow, and as you do, notice the T-step is increasing 40 degrees each time. And when you get to your 360, you will note that it will stop there. You cannot continue past 360. And then press your left arrow to go all the way back around, and that will give you the T-steps in reverse order. Now on the paper, I've already graphed the vertices, connected the dots, and given you basically a copy of what that would look like on paper. The last example is an 11-sided polygon. So we'll go back to the window, and for the T-step, go down to the T-step and type 360, and then divided by, and this is 11, so put 11. Now, when I press enter, it will convert that to a decimal. So it's going to count around by this amount, which is, it is a rational number, but definitely not a whole number. So let's go to graph. And now we have our 11-sided polygon. So when you press trace, it's giving you the t-value 0, and then you'll notice these are not very pretty. So as you go around, just estimate about where you believe 33 degree wherever 33 degrees is, you will put a point there for that vertex. And then this is about 65. Well, you have a 60, so you can kind of estimate where the 65 would be, halfway between 60 and 70. And then 98 is real close to the 100. And then so on. So I'll just keep pressing and go around. But each one, and then of course 360, you're right back to the starting point. When you get to the end, rotate all the way back around. And there you have it. So a beautiful 11-sided polygon, which is crazy hard to draw without some sort of circle diagram. So I've given you a copy of this polygon already drawn for you on page 5 in your handout. Now, some helpful hints. You can clear your memory, but if you do clear your memory, you have to go right back to example 1 and set up everything again. And that would mean turning off your turning off your grid lines, turning off your axes, putting in your sine and your cosine. There's quite a few steps to setting up your calculator to create these. So go back and just start over with example 1. You may want to do that anyway, just for practice, to see if you can remember the one step to the next. Just a fun activity. This was a short one, so hopefully you enjoyed it. Remember, the best way to learn your calculator is to just use it and to practice. So until we meet again, practice, practice, practice.